What's up, YouTube? Thomas L here. Since Brendan Fraser is pretty much back in the spotlight at playing Robot Man on that new DC show Doom Patrol, which is really good, by the way. I'm not gonna do like a full review or anything, but Doom Patrol I really dug. I mean, Brendan Fraser was really good as Robot Man, and like before Doom Patrol, Brendan Fraser had roles in lots of interesting movies. Some not so good either, but I'm only mainly talking about his good stuff. So, that being said, here's my 10 favorite Brendan Fraser movies. Coming in at number 10 is School Ties. Now, this is pretty much Brendan Fraser's earliest roles, and in it he plays a guy named David Green who receives a football scholarship to a prestige prep school in the 1950s, and so he feels pressure to hide the fact that he is Jewish from his classmates and teachers, fearing that they may be anti-Semitic, and so he quick man on campus thanks to his football skills. But when his Jewish background is discovered, his worst fears are realized that are realized, and his friends played by Matt Damon and Chris O'Connell turn on him with violent threats and public ridicule. This is a really interesting film. I mean, Matt Damon. It's always pretty much one of Matt Damon's earliest work, and of course, it had Chris O'Donnell way before he became Robin, and of course, way before his NCIS show with LL Cool J. School Ties is really good. I mean, it has good performances by Fraser. I mean, it showed how serious the 1950s was. I mean, there was lots of racial ridicule back in the days, and I'm glad we don't have a lot of that stuff nowadays. But anyways, School Ties is fantastic. I mean, if you guys never had a chance to check it out, definitely give School Ties a go. I think you'll enjoy it. Coming in at number 9 is Encino Man. Now, in this, it stars Sean Astin as California teen Dave Morgan, who is digging a pit for a pool in his backyard, and when he happens upon, he pretty much encounters a caveman frozen in block of ice, and so he is aided by a goofy friend, Stoney, played by Pauly Shore. And so they transport their discovery to his garage, and pretty much Brendan Fraser plays the caveman, and they attempt to pass him as a foreign exchange student named Link. And of course, there's lots of misadventures in this. Encino Man is more of a guilty pleasure. It's not that much of a great movie, to be honest with you, but I simply love this film. It's very cheesy. There's lots of cringy moments, yes, but something about Encino Man I just simply adore. And Pauly Shore, he does. I mean, he's a little weird when it comes to films. I mean, he did lots of movies where that's more guilty pleasures of mine, like this Biodome. But I mean, Brendan Fraser as a caveman, how could you not like that? I mean, yeah, Encino Man is really awesome. I mean, if you guys never had a chance to check out Encino Man, definitely check it out. I mean, it's pretty much a fish out of water scenario if you want to look at it that way. But it's awesome. Not great of a movie, to be honest with you, but it's, like I said, it's going to be more of a guilty pleasure than anything. Alright, coming in at number 8 is Journey to the Center of the Earth. Now, I'm going to say up front, I slightly enjoyed the sequel that featured The Rock in it, but the first Journey to the Center of the Earth film was pretty decent and fun. I mean, the T-Rex in this look really cool. And of course, it's based on the classic book by Jules Verne. And besides Brendan Fraser, it also stars Josh Hutcherson, who also reprised his role in the sequel with The Rock. Now, too bad Brendan Fraser didn't appear in the sequel. I mean, it would have been cool seeing a mummy reunion between The Rock and and Brandon Fraser, but sad that never really happened. I mean, Journey to the Center of the Earth, I thought it was a pretty fun adventure flick. I mean, I also really like the chemistry with Brandon Fraser and Josh Hutcherson. They were pretty good together. And it was directed by Eric Breivik, who also went on to direct that Yogi Bear movie with Dan Aykroyd. Anyway, I simply dug this film. It's not that great. Like, it's not that great of a movie, but it's actually pretty fun to watch. And I mean, one other movie you'll see where you see Brendan Fraser being chased by a T-Rex. This is pretty much the movie for you if you want to see that. All right, coming in at number 7 is another more of a guilty pleasure of mine. That is George of the Jungle. George of the Jungle. George of the Jungle is awesome. I mean, it pretty much stars Brendan Fraser as the title role of George, who has raised himself since he was like a baby, and so like a plane crash stranded him in an African jungle, and so now as an adult, George has like his first human contact in years when he rescues an explorer played by Leslie Mann from like a lion, and so they of course connect and Leslie Mann's character Ursula, leaves her fiance Lyle, played by Thomas Hayden Church, and so they, take George back to San Francisco, but when George like learns that his gorilla buddy has been captured, he and Ursula, return on like a rescue mission. Brendan Fraser as George is pretty cool casting. Of course, this is based on like a comic strip. And after George is Younger, there was, of course, a sequel, which is horrible. But the first film is the best. And it's pretty much like Leslie Mann's earliest roles. She was pretty good in this. But anyway. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much like an anti-Tarzan, if you will. And Brendan Fraser played the role of George of the Jungle really well. I mean, if you guys never had a chance to check out George of the Jungle, it's a little cheesy and some of the jokes probably won't hold up today, but it's actually really fun. All right, coming in at number 6 is Blast from the Past. Now, in this, Brendan Fraser plays a character named Adam Weber, who has lived his entire life in confinement in a fallout shelter in Pasadena, California. And so, like, when the Weber family's ration of food and supplies grow, then, his father, named Calvin, played by Christopher Walken, sends him on, like, a dangerous restocking mission. And so, like, Adam emerges from the Webster family's refuge for the first time, and so like he finds that rumors of a nuclear apocalypse were totally false, and like he also meets a gorgeous woman named Silverstone, and they pretty much connect with one another. This is a really cute and charming little film. Brendan Fraser and Alicia Silverstone, they had some really good chemistry with one another. I mean, who doesn't love Chris Walken? He was really good in this. I mean, I haven't seen this movie for a while, to be honest with you, but I remember really enjoying it when I first saw it. And the movie turns 20 this year, believe it or not. Whew, I feel old yet. And it was also directed by Hugh Wilson. We even had Sissy Spacek in this. Some pretty good supporting cast members, but it's the chemistry between Brendan Fraser and Alicia Silverstone that really steals this movie. It's really good. If you guys never had a chance to check out Blast from the Past yet, give it a go. I think you'll enjoy it. All right, coming in at number 5 is Looney Tunes Back in Action. Now, just a few minutes ago, I did my 10 favorite basketball movies, and Space Jam ended up in that list. So now I did doing the best Brendan Fraser film, and now I'm talking about another Looney Tune movie. I mean, movies where cartoons, interact with the real world. Something about that I really find pretty intriguing. I mean, this time around, there's no basketball involved. Although Michael Jordan has a brief cameo in this, but that's pretty much it. I mean, Brendan Fraser was pretty good. You also have Jenna Elfman. Steve Martin plays the villain in this named Eva Chairman. You even have cameos from other cartoon characters let's see who else was in this. Oh yeah, Scooby and Shaggy had a role in this. A few other classic cartoon characters you'll see pop up. I mean, this one literally has a Who Framed Roger Rabbit feel to it. And Looney Tunes back in action, it wasn't as good as, let's say, Space Jam, but I still love this movie. It is really fun. It is cute, charming. I mean, Brendan Fraser teaming up with Bugs Bunny, Daffy, and the other Looney Tunes gang was pretty fun to watch. Yeah, I mean, if you guys never checked out Back in Action yet, definitely give this one a go. It's not a great film by any means, but it's actually really loads of fun. All right, coming in at number 4 is Crash. Now, this of course has loads of actors in it. Besides Brendan Fraser, you got people like Sandra Bullock, Terrence Howard. Who else is in this? Oh yeah, Lawrence Tate is in this. Don Cheadle, Matt Dillon, Ryan Felipe. Really good cast, and of course the movie won Best Picture at the Oscars. And the characters, like Brendan Fraser, plays a district attorney who has a wife played by Sandra Bullock, who's very prejudiced. Sandra Bullock's character in this is really racist. And I mean, there's lots of tensions that drive with this film. I mean, there's lots of racial tensions, and it's fantastic. I mean, this movie gets a lot of hate for some reason. I really never understood the hate that Crash got, but I think it's just awesome, and it shows that Brendan Fraser could be a really decent actor when he wants to, and when he does dramas like Crash, he could nail it, and he was really good in his parts. And he had good chemistry with Sandra Bullock. They worked together pretty well here. I mean, yeah, I really love Crash. It was actually one of my favorite movies of the year it came out in, and it's really good. All right, coming in at number 3 is With Honors. Now, in it, Brendan Fraser plays Monty Kessler, who's a graduate student who's struggling to finish his program. And so he loses his thesis and find it in the hands of a homeless man named Simon Wilder, played by Joe Pesci. And so the two pretty much get off. At first, they get off on the wrong foot, and so but then they become unlikely friends with Simon teaching Monty some important life lessons. And also, people in this also includes Patrick Dempsey, who plays Fraser's buddy in this. With Honors, I think is a really underrated little gem. I always dug the chemistry between Brendan Fraser and Joe Pesci. I mean, it has a good message involved with it. I mean, I really dug this movie. Now, I actually recently, not recently, but I actually remember watching this on, I think, HBO or some channel I remember watching this on. And I remember really enjoying it. I mean, it's not one of the best movies of the 90s, nothing like that. But I still really dug it. And, I mean, if you guys never checked out With Honors yet, it's another Brendan Fraser movie worth checking out. I mean, it doesn't have really the best score on Rotten Tomatoes, to be honest. I mean, it has a 17%, but it's much better than a 17%. All right, coming in at number 2, it's Gods and Monsters. Now, this is actually the film about famed Frankenstein and and Bride of Frankenstein director James Whale, played by Ian McKellen, who is pretty much long since retired in a increasingly poor health. And so his stalwart housekeeper named Hannah, played by Lynn Redgrave, quickly disapproves of Will's faithless, nameless parade of young gay lovers. And so, when the director takes an interest in a new gardener named Clayton Boone, played by Brendan Fraser, the former Marine and Korean War vet, seems to be for something more than his usual casual conquests. This movie was directed by Bill Condon, who directed Dreamgirls. He did the last two Twilight movies. He also did Beauty and the Beast. Gods and Monsters is really fantastic. I mean, this is by Brendan Fraser and Sir Ian McKellen. Lynn Redgrave was pretty good in this. I mean, it really showed about who James Wells was, his life, his career, and he was a good director, by the way. Frankenstein was the best, anyway. And I believe Brendan Fraser and McKellen scored Oscar nominations for this. I could be wrong. Got double check that. But I mean, it's a really good, fantastic film. It got released in I think the early 2000s, like early 2000s or late 90s, around that area. But it's a really good film. I mean, I also haven't seen this movie for a while, but I remember really enjoying it when I first saw it. Yeah, it's really good. I mean, I'm also a sucker for true story events, and I'm also a sucker for old Hollywood, so there's also that. I mean, if you guys never checked out Gods and Monsters, definitely give this one a go. I think you'll enjoy it. All right, now my number one favorite Brendan Fraser movie is The Mummy. Now, I mean, of course, it's where Brendan Fraser, is looking for pretty much discover a mummy. The Mummy is a really fun action film. It's in 1999, and it turns 20 this year. So there's that. It was directed by Steven Sommers, who also directed Brendan Fraser in the first G.I. Joe movie. You even had Rachel Weisz in this, John Hannah. Some very good supporting players. But anyway, Brendan Fraser was really good in The Mummy. I really like the chemistry between both Rachel Weisz and Brendan Fraser. They were pretty good. I mean, this movie it's a really fun, nice, pure action film. I mean, you never really consider it as a horror movie per se. I mean, it has horror elements, but it's more of an action horror film, if you will. And it's a shame, we never got to see Brendan Fraser play the role again after part 3, because he plays the role really well. And yeah, again, part 3 really stunk, so I guess it was alright to not see another one. Of course, after that, we had the Tom Cruise one, which was decent, but it definitely wasn't as good as the Brendan Fraser one. Then, of course, after The Mummy, he of course reprised his role in The Mummy Returns, which actually gave us The Rock, by the way. The Mummy Returns was good, but Part 3 is definitely the worst out of the bunch. But none of them could beat the first one. I mean, if you guys never seen the 1999 Mummy one with Brendan Fraser in it, check it out. I think you'll have a good time with it. I mean, it had like a National Treasure feel to it in a way. But I mean, if definitely check it out. I think you'll enjoy it. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Let me do the quick rundown. Number 10, School Ties. 9, Encino Man. 8, Journey to the Center of the Earth. 4, George of the Jungle. 7, George of the Jungle. Why did I say 4? Anyway. 6, Blast from the Past. 5, Looney Tunes Back in Action. 4, Crash. 3, With Honors. 2, Gods and Monsters. 1, The Mummy. Now, there's loads of other ones I could have added. Let me pull up his resume. Mummy Returns, as I said, was good. Mummy Tomb of the Dragon Emperor with Jet Li was not good. Bedazzled was horrible. I mean, Elizabeth Hurley was the best part of that movie, but Inkheart was pretty horrible. It's a shame how many bad movies Brendan Fraser had. I mean, Furry Vengeance was not good. Airheads with Adam Sandler was pretty decent. Monkey Bone was not that great. Dudley Do Right wasn't all that great. Extraordinary Measures with Harrison Ford wasn't all that great. The Quiet American was decent. Give Me Shelter with Vanessa Hudgens was decent. Mrs. Winterborn was alright. Son-in-Law with Pauly Shore, more of a guilty pleasure. The Nut Job, another Pauly Shore movie. In the Army Now. Boy, Brendan Fraser and Pauly Shore worked together a lot. He was really awesome in Pawn Shop Chronicles. You guys gotta check that one out. Not a movie, but that Trust miniseries he was in with Hilary Swank and Donald Sutherland, that was actually decent. Anyway, let me leave to you guys. What are some of your favorite Brendan Fraser movies? Drop a comment below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for more notifications. This here is Tom Sells signing off.